Welcome to Weekend Discovery. Coming up on today's show, we'll check out the downtown Peoria St. Patty's Day Parade, and then we'll meet up with Mr. Fish, Pat Sullivan, for one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day parties around. But coming up next, we will go behind the scenes at the Peoria Zoo as we meet up with our good friend Max Lakes. Stay tuned for a great show. Weekend Discovery, brought to you in part by TAPS No-Kill Animal Shelter, Fostering Saves Lives, 100 Taps Lane in Pekin, and Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, 619 Southwest Water Street in Peoria. One of the sure signs of spring in central Illinois is a trip to the Peoria Zoo. So we paid a visit to the zoo and met with our good friend Max Lakes.
My name is Max Lakes, and I am the director of the Peoria Zoo and the Luthi Botanical Gardens. And my job here as director is to oversee all operations of the zoo, the animals, our events, and the community engagement. So lots of wonderful stuff going on, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of that stuff on both the animal side and the event side. For those of you who don't know me, that I'm very happy to be here, and I'm coming up on 9 months in Peoria, Illinois. The community is amazing and the zoo is amazing. So we have our Glow Wild that's happening right now, which is going every weekend for March and April on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. The first ticket sells at 5:30, and you can get your last ticket bought at 8, where you can enter up till 8:30 each night. And it's the first, as far as I know, Lantern Festival of its type here in central Illinois. So it's an amazing sight. It's something that you would normally have to drive to Chicago or St. Louis to see, and now you can see it right here in Peoria at the Peoria Zoo. Haven't seen it, when you see the pictures in this video, I think it's really going to drive you to come out and check it out. It's just absolutely gorgeous, and it's the zoo in a whole new light, pardon the pun. So you'll be able to see the amazing artwork that goes into creating these lanterns, and then the zoo at night with some amazing food. Not only have we been working on having new community events that families can come and enjoy at the Peoria Zoo, we're also making sure that while you're here, your overall event experience is much nicer. Meaning, you know, I'm a big guy, so when I go to a zoo or any event, I want some kind of food. We have an amazing new food and beverage manager. She is the chef from a restaurant here that was called The Chef and the Baker, and she now works here at the zoo and oversees all of our food service. So while you're at the event, you can walk around, you can get some dumplings, some handmade egg rolls, some lo mein, and just have a great experience, along with some mocktails and some cocktails. Not only do we have the event food, but our regular day food is still wonderful too. So when you come on a Saturday or Sunday to see our amazing animals, you're gonna be able to get really good high quality chicken tenders and hamburgers for the kids, but the parents who might want a grilled chicken sandwich or a veggie wrap, they can get those now, and it's a really good experience. Well, so let me start by saying our giraffes aren't always out all season long because they're from the African savanna, so they're not super cold tolerant. And we just got out of some weather that was, I don't know, we had a couple mornings, it was like -5. So if you came to the zoo in the winter, you had the bonus of getting to watch our Amur tiger roll around in the snow and be very happy, but you weren't able to see the giraffes. Now we can fix that because in the spring, like today, they are out. They're getting some what we call browse, and all browse is a long limb that has some leaves on it that we've cut off a tree, which is what they would eat in the wild, and we'll put that out for them. And then starting here, this is March, so I would say probably around May, on the weekends throughout the day, you'll be able to come up and pay a very nominal fee and get you a couple pieces of lettuce and feed the giraffes, which is amazing. You'll get to see this 18 to 24 inch long tongue that comes out. It'll put a little bit of slobber on you. We don't upcharge for the slobber is free. And sometimes kids and adults will get some of that on them and they're like, oh, I never want to wash my hands again. But it's a really amazing interaction, and you get to see this 14, 15 foot tall animal that you wouldn't normally get to interact with, of course, in the middle of Illinois, and see some of their unique adaptations. So you'll see this head, that just the head of a giraffe is 125 pounds for a female. And to see that up close and have that interaction is just amazing. So this is Emily. Emily is one of our amazing keepers here at Peoria Zoo. And Emily also started as an educational interpreter. So she used to come over and she would help people feed the giraffes like we were talking about earlier during those giraffe feedings. Emily would help guide that. Emily has wanted to be a keeper for a long time, and a position opened up, and she came on board on the keeper side. So what she's doing now is, you'll notice we call it a target. So some people would call it a large fish bobber. And what that does is she has them target. It gets them to go into a particular space. And then once they touch their nose to it, then she gives them a rye cracker. Now, rye crackers for giraffes, for whatever reason, are like Snicker bars for us. They just absolutely love them. And one important thing to notice is when she's saying target, she'll put the target out, but the giraffes have to bring their nose to the target. She doesn't bring the target to the giraffe's nose. They have to work for that. Now, why that's important is we need the giraffes, or we want the giraffes, to help participate in their care, their overall care, particularly their medical care. So we are working on, or the keepers are working on, hoof trim. So just like a horse that you may have that needs a farrier and hoof work, so do our giraffes. But giraffes, being wild animals, don't necessarily take to it as well as horses do, so we have to use a little bit more training with them. And so this is part of that training. You get somebody who will station the giraffe, and then we'll have the people down at the bottom who will get them to lift their hoofs up on the blocks, and then that way the hoof work can happen. If we don't do that and they don't participate in their care, then every so often we have to anesthetize them, which is giving them a little bit of drugs to put them to sleep so we can do that medical work. And we don't want to do that if we don't have to. So every animal here at the zoo, we're working hard to make sure that they can participate in their medical care, everywhere from our 15-foot giraffes all the way to our smallest birds and our carnivores. I think you might have seen Lizzie, our lion, earlier. So she is able to do some different, we call them cues that we give. And they'll take those cues, say stand up for a lion, and what they'll do is they'll stand up and they'll put their paws up, and that lets us see their belly, their stomach, check their paws, and do some blood draws. So it's very, very important for our animals' care, and the level of expertise that is required from our keepers and the patience to work with the animals like that and the multiple species that they have to do is just astounding. So the crew here at the Peoria Zoo does amazing work.
Well, this song is all about elk, one of my favorite animals. Sometimes I stop and I think to myself, what could be better than being an elk? The hooves on my feet and the horns on my head, grass in the valley, make sure I'm well fed. I love being an elk.
When we were first setting up, you had mentioned the zoo at Glen Oak Park, so a lot of people in Peoria and the region know it as that, and over the years it's transitioned to the Peoria Zoo. And I bring up the zoo at Glen Oak Park because of the Tropics building. That was the first building that many people saw when they were children. They would come in, the entrance, the old entrance is in that building. Some of the community have told me that the first thing they remember is we call it the aroma here. They said the smell, because we had those different habitats and things have changed over the years, but it was a very impactful experience for them. And that building is still here. So that was what, 1955, 1956. Those older habitats have been redone throughout the years. And amazingly, and something that makes me very happy, is we don't ever stop trying to grow and do better for our animals. So we have an amazing animal here named, or two of them, they're black-handed spider monkeys. They're a bonded pair, Butch and Darla. Butch is, as far as we know, the oldest black-handed spider monkey around anywhere, and he is 53 years old. So he came here in 1973, and his mate, her name is Darla, and they've been together for 26 or 27 years now. Now, if you remember it from years ago, there wasn't an outdoor habitat. We have the garage doors that could open up and they could see outside, but they hadn't really been outside. And then this past year, the zoo and the Peoria Park District built them an outdoor habitat. And it's just amazing to see. So if the community hasn't seen that yet and hasn't seen the black-handed spider monkeys go from their indoor habitat out to the outdoor habitat and just get to act like black-handed spider monkeys, come check it out definitely this spring and this summer. As the weather warms up, we'll be getting them out every day, and then we'll be rotating them with the lemurs. And you know, I'm an animal guy, so I get super excited when I get to talk about species-specific behaviors in our animals. And we have a couple keepers here who are absolutely amazing, but our lemurs had never shown the species-specific behavior of what we call basking. So if you've seen the movies, you'll see the lemurs that are sitting there in the sun and they're doing this. And our lemurs didn't do that. And then the first day out, within minutes of being out in that new habitat, they sat out there and they basked. And I remember a young keeper came up and she went, "Oh my goodness, I thought that was only in the movies." So we're doing right by our animals, and that's an amazing thing to see. So you're going to see a lot more activity from them. And then as you move around the zoo, you're going to see slow changes over around the tiger habitat. We have our amazing Nikita. Nikita was born here almost 13 years ago. So a lot of people still talk to me about, yeah, we remember the cubs. Well, she was one of the cubs, and now we call her the lovable old lady. So she's doing well. We have our takin that are up in Asia. I love those animals. We could have additions to our takin group soon this year, so keep an eye out on Facebook and our website to see if we don't have an addition soon. And for people that don't know what a takin is, it's actually a very large 500 to 600 pound goat that lives in the upper mountains, so 4,000 foot range. And a lot of people have heard of golden fleece, and that's important because that's where the golden fleece comes from. It comes from takin. So along with, and then as we circle around, I'm kind of in my mind walking around the zoo, and across from takin is our Australia area, and that's going to start opening back up here at the beginning of the summer. So you'll be able to walk through, you'll see the wallabies, the kangaroos, the emus that are running through there, and you'll be able to watch them more in a free setting. So they're free to roam, they're free to look at you. We ask that nobody touch them. You know, we want people to touch with their hearts, not with their hands. And then that keeps everybody safe. So lots of exciting stuff going on, and it's fun to see the animals interacting and the families coming out and the smiles that happen with all of that. So this guy right here, this is one of my favorites. He is Harris. He's coming in at the slim weight of about 5,500 pounds. He is a white rhino. You can tell by the flat front lip that he has. So they're grazers out there on the savanna. So in here they eat lots of grass. Now you're going to notice that he's in what we call our paddock right now. And the white rhino you saw earlier out in the yard, his name is Leo. But know that each rhino gets some time out every day when it's warm enough. So Harris got to go out earlier, and then he came in, and then his half brother Leo got to go out for the other half of the day. So we make sure that each of them gets out as much as we can. Good boy, Harris. So we call this tactile reinforcement, and a lot of our guests out there are going to look at it and go, that's just petting. But what that does actually is it's something that can reinforce them that they really like. So those big ears that he has, that's actually how he participates in his animal care. So I'm going to step right behind you if you don't mind, Emily. So what will happen is they will come in, they'll work with them, they'll take the ear. It's okay, buddy. It's me. Good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, yes. You want to give a side? So they'll take that ear. Oh, that's perfect. That's a good side. Can I touch? So I'm showing him my hands. And then if you notice, so you can see the vein right in here, and the vets will come in and they'll take blood out of his ear. And when you've got a 5,500 pound white rhino, it's very important to have them participate in their care. It makes it so much easier. And for him, what he likes is that tactile reinforcement. So take that glove and put it on there, and you'll see he'll kick out that back leg here in just a minute. And he'll stay in there.
He specifically likes it up in his armpits and in the softer wrinkles where he can't really scratch or rub and get as well. So he loves it when you can get into these softer creases. And that's when you'll hear his happy rhino snorts and his oohs that he gives. And he puts his tail up, that's a happy rhino tail. And he's gonna be like, what are you doing? Give me more.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, buddy. Right in the wrinkly spots, huh?
And that glove really helps because their hide is so thick that they can feel that better. So it's hard for our hands to give them enough pressure.
And he would stand here all day if I had the time.
Yes, he would. We call it building a trust account. So with Emily having to work with him, she needs to be able to interact with them in a way that they remain this calm, so that way it increases her safety and it increases the safety of the rhino. So if you notice, just that little movement startled him just enough where he stepped back real quick, but he calmed down instantly. And if you watch those ears, so this ear here is listening directly to my voice, the other ear, he keeps repositioning it so he can hear that echo that's bouncing off the wall. And that's what they would do in the wild. So they're going to be looking for predators. At his age, he would also be looking for a girlfriend. So they do a little bit quiet snorts, and they'd be able to hear all that. Then his smell is so wonderful. When they're out there on the savanna, they can smell the grasses. And if it gets real dry, they can smell the tubers that'll be in the ground, and they can dig those up, and they'll eat a little bit of tubers. But mostly they like grass.
And when something like that happens and I do startle him, then I back off, let him think about it for a minute, realize that he is, in fact, safe and okay. And then if he stays with me and gives me another chance, then I can show him, hey, we're cool. I was just letting you sniff and we're all good. And so then that furthers that bond, because then he knows next time if I make a quick movement that he's not in any danger then.
And then that lets us end it on a good positive note. Do you want to trade off and come over? You sure? Thank you for bringing up the tortoise that you remember when you were a kid, Ken. And you were wondering, is that the same tortoise that I saw when I was a kid? And a lot of people around here may be wondering the same thing, and it is. His name is George. George is coming in at about 80, 85 years old. We're not exactly sure how old. He is the oldest known resident that we have, but he's also kind of middle-aged. And George was by himself for a long time, but he does have roommates now. So we're not necessarily real original here at the zoo with naming. So we have George, Georgette, and Georgina. So as you walk through the zoo and you see that big old guy out there and his new roommates, wave at him and say hi, and you're going to see a lot more interaction with them. So they do normally live in larger social groups, and that's why when George was alone, we're like, well, we got to fix that because he should be having friends. Keep your eyes and ears open for some changes in our animal friends that you're going to be seeing around the zoo. So I can't tell you right now exactly what they are, but there's some really amazing fun stuff that's going to be happening this year. So if you keep track of our Facebook page and on our website, within weeks you're going to be seeing some new animal friends that are joining us here at the zoo. So if you want to come and check out everything zoo related and you're really wanting to see some cool animals, we are open 7 days a week. We open at 10 a.m. and our last ticket is sold at 4:30, and then the zoo does close at 5. So know that if you buy your ticket at 4:30, the zoo will be closing about a half an hour after that, but you're still welcome to walk around and see everything you can. As we get into the season, I do recommend, as the weather gets warmer, if you want to see a lot of activity, early in the morning or later in the afternoon is the best time to come around. Now, if you have a little bit of extra time on your hands, know that we have an amazing volunteer program here. You can check that out and get more information on the website with that, but there's volunteer opportunities everywhere from animal care to commissary. Commissary is where we make the food for our animals, education, interpretive, teaching people about the animals, so a lot of opportunities with that. As well as if you've got some kids for the summer who you're wondering, what can I do? We got a lot of camps that are opening up. So camp registration should be opening in the next week or so, and you can get your kids registered for that and they can just have an amazing time.
A few weeks ago, Lori and I went to celebrate St. Patrick's Day by first attending the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in downtown Peoria. And what an amazing parade it was. In the parade, we saw our very own Pat Sullivan, Mr. Fish, and followed him down to one of the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebrations around.
Happy St. Patty's Day. Basically, staff and I and my son have been working real hard ordering things. We have a 105-foot tent out there by 30. We have two tents that are 30 by 20 out there. A couple different bars and pizza and stuff outside. We have a DJ out there. We had radio stations broadcasting right from our tents. It's one of the largest parties in the Midwest if it's not on a Saturday. Usually Chicago will have the largest. St. Patty's Party on the day is usually right here at Kelleher's in Peoria, Illinois. We're pretty proud of that. It's been going on for about 25 years, and we enjoy it. Our family enjoys it. And then we had Tourists, the Irish band playing that is one of the top bands, Irish bands around. They've got all instruments. They actually sit on some Thursday nights inside here, and people from Macomb, Quad City, Springfield come in and play with them. It's pretty neat to see that quality and that they draw that many people from other parts of the state to come in and play.
That time we came to our young child. walking down the street and searching for TV. But there's by the bunny that's going to be through. Oh, Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. It's up and every mountain and down young Spoggy Glen.
Weekend Discovery, brought to you in part by TAPS No-Kill Animal Shelter, Fostering Saves Lives, 100 TAPS Lane in Pekin, and Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, 619 Southwest Water Street in Peoria.
Giraffe, giraffe, why is your neck so long? Giraffe, giraffe, I want to sing you this song. You are the cutest mammal the world will ever see. You are my best friend, you stick out your neck for me. You rise up head and shoulders far above the beast. Not like the panda fella who eats shoots and leaves. Oh, giraffe.